Hey, hey, said the Real Rap Coalition podcast back in. About to review Dungeons and Dragons. Watch what I'm saying, like a closed caption. Keep your feet up, sit back and relax, man. About to give y'all all my reactions. Just saw the movie, that's why I'm a flow magic. Now it's time to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. This is the intro. Now I'm done rapping. Okay, what's good, man? I just wanted to do some shit that was different. We come from a rapping background, so I wanted to integrate a little bit of that. But what's good, man? We are back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast. And this is a solo podcast. And we got another segment from our in real time segment. Is that right? Yeah, another segment from our in real time segment. And today we're coming to bring y'all Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves reaction and review and recap all of that. Since this is a solo recap this time, I'm not gonna really keep y'all too long, man. I'm gonna get into a few different things, talk about the movie, how I felt about the movie, and we're gonna go from there. So, without any further ado, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I saw the movie yesterday. Yesterday was Wednesday, and there was a special like fan access premiere or something like that, and it only had one showtime. So I believe I saw the movie earlier than most people will have seen this movie. However, um, this is probably going to drop today, which is Thursday. So I saw the movie yesterday, but we're dropping it a day later. If it drops even later than Thursday, then hey, at least it dropped. But let's talk about the movie, man. For me, I knew nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know anything about the lore. So coming into this movie, I was completely like I was a fresh, like a blank slate. This is brand new to me. I had no expectations. I knew nothing about it, and so I saw the trailer a few weeks ago. The trailer didn't really do anything for me. It wasn't really that like amazing. It wasn't nothing special. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, it didn't really interest me that much. However, I knew that Dungeons and Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves was going to be a big movie. Like it was going to be a big deal because Dungeons and Dragons is a big deal. Like we've been hearing about Dungeons and Dragons for years. Ever since I was a kid. I've never played it, but you always heard about Dungeons and Dragons. You know what it is. Whether or not you've played it, whether or not you've seen any of the movies, you know what Dungeons and Dragons is. So I knew it was going to be a big movie. Um, I'm a movie guy now, so I pretty much just watch uh all kind of shit. So I said, okay, Dungeons and Dragons coming out. They're promoting this heavy. AMC is where I go to the theater, and they had Dungeons and Dragon popcorn and all kind of different things going on. The last time I went up there to see John Wick 4, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and see what this Dungeons and Dragons is about. So out the gate, before I even get into the theater, I'm in the lobby. You know where they sell concession stands and everything. They sell concessions. I'm in the lobby and I see people, talking about the movie, talking about Dungeon Masters and this and that. I see a guy with some fake ass ears on, and I was looking. I was like, what's going on with dude here? And then I see his ears. I'm like, okay, he has some big ass elf ears over his regular ears, and it's like, okay. And so it reminds me of like, how they have like the Comic Cons and the different places where people go and they dress up like these different characters from movies and games and TV. It reminded me of that. I didn't see too much of it, possibly because this was an early premiere that I saw, and the actual movie is like set to come out on Friday. Um, what I noticed about these movies is that they actually release about on Thursday, and this movie in particular actually released on Wednesday. So I did see one guy with some ears on. I didn't see him go into the theater. I didn't see him in the theater, so I'm sure he was there. He had ears on. Like, I don't think he had them ears on to go see John Wick 4. I saw John Wick 4. You don't need no ears for that. You don't. You could just watch it. Like John Wick 4 was spectacular, but we're not talking about that. If you haven't seen John Wick 4, we also did a review on John Wick 4. So go check that out on the channel as well. But let me actually get into the actual movie, man. Uh so for me, I'm not really gonna give too many spoilers and details. Like a lot of times we go through the entire movie a lot of times and we talk about scene by scene, different things that happen. I'm just gonna give like a little overview of the movie and everything because it's a solo reaction, a solo review. So I don't need to really delve deep into telling play by play because that'll just be me sitting here giving like a summary of the movie and nothing else because there's nothing to feed off that way. So with that being said, let me go ahead and just give like a little rundown. I'm going to give the plot summary of Dungeons and Dragons. So um anybody that doesn't know what it is, like it'll give you a little bit of background. So it says a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark. Whoa, what am I talking about? All right, hold on. Rewind that. A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers. Like what's up with that word? Yo, I am not fucking remedial, bro. It's that word. Adventurers. Okay. A charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a long lost relic. But their charming adventure goes dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. First of all, why are they using these words? I get it. Is this like so the movie is not a medieval movie. Maybe you would think that because Dungeons, Dragons, you might have that thought from the jump. I'm not sure about the game itself because I've never played the game. However, this movie itself is not a medieval movie. I don't believe it's set in medieval times. It's just a fantasy movie, and I think that's where the Dungeons and the Dragons come in at because it's fantasy. So I don't know why they're using these words like fucking a wire and fucking what's the other one? A file, run a file. I don't know why they're doing that shit. But anyways, that's the summary pretty much. It took me a minute to get through it, but I got through it, you know. Um, so like I said, this movie is a fantasy movie, obviously, but I feel like they mixed like fantasy along with action and comedy. They even threw in some drama. Of course, it was an adventure movie. They said that in the plot summary. So this movie was like a little pot. It was like a little pot of all these different genres mixed in. And it was actually pretty entertaining. Uh, I never took my eyes off the screen, not one time. The runtime for this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. I didn't take my eyes off the screen one time. Um, I had no expectations, like I said, and so I just went into the movie like, okay, what is about to happen here? What am I about to see? It kept my attention. It was entertaining. Um, so I'm not gonna say it's like one of the best movies that I've seen. It's not one of the best movies I've seen this year or anything, but it was a enjoyable movie. I feel like. Um, so from what I read about this movie is that the tone was specifically supposed to be sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy type of movie. And I kind of get that. I get that from this movie. Like Guardians is fire to me. Um the thing about Guardians is it was one of the first Marvel movies that I saw that kind of had that style to it where it's like it's not Iron Man. It's not Iron Man that's so serious the entire movie. It's not Captain America that's serious the entire. Nah, it's playful. Guardians was playful. It was entertaining. They threw little jokes in here and there. They did goofy shit, and it's like, okay, this is some real fun shit. Guardians was fun as fuck, and I kind of see that they're trying to go that route with this Dungeons and Dragons movie as well. And I feel like they did a decent job at it. It's not as good as Guardians. It's not as entertaining as Guardians. I don't want to compare it to Guardians, but if that's the tone that they were going for, I see, how they attempted it. I think they did pretty decent at it because it was entertaining and enjoyable, but you know, it wasn't to the level of what Guardians is. Guardians is goated type shit. With that being said, this movie itself is entertaining. I liked it. So apparently this is the fourth Dungeons and Dragons movie. I haven't seen any of the other three. Apparently this is a reboot. So the first three came out in the early 2000s. I think the third one was 2012. The first two were early 2000s. And so this is a reboot, which means it's an entirely standalone film. So even though it's the fourth Dungeons and Dragons movie, it's a reboot. So it's like they restarted um over from the beginning. They didn't continue on from the third movie. They restarted over from the beginning, and they did it in a modern day like time. So like whereas 2000 or 2000 and something was the first Guardian. I mean, say Guardians. 2000 was the first one that they did for Dungeons and Dragons. Um, they did like kind of how they do for a lot of movies where the classic like Jumanji and stuff like that, where they take the old movie and they do it again. It's not a continuation, but they're just doing it again in the newer time, the newer era to like, kind of update it. So that's what they did with this. Um, so I'm going to review it as a standalone film because I haven't seen it, the other ones to compare it to that or anything. So this movie was supposed to come out in 2021 because of the pandemic that messed a lot of things up. It had to be pushed back to 2003. I'm sorry, 2023. Okay, I might be a little bit remedial. I don't know. I'm in tripping, but yeah, it got pushed back to 2023, and that's the same thing that happened with John Wick because John Wick 4 was supposed to also release like back then. I can't remember if it was 2021. I believe it was. Maybe, but it ended up being pushed back to 2023 as well. And so I wanted to point that out. This movie, the cast is really good to me. It's led by Chris Pine, who he starred in the Star Trek movies. He's really famous for that. I haven't really seen those specifically, but I know he's from that. And Michelle Rodriguez, she's from the Fast and the Furious series. I thought Michelle Rodriguez did fucking amazing. She was fucking fire. I fucked with her. I think she played Letty in Fast and Furious. But yeah, I think she did a fucking great job, bro. The dude named Forge was like the main antagonist. His real name is Hugh Grant, and I know him from The Gentleman, but I know he was in Glass Onion and a bunch of other stuff that I didn't see. Glass Onion, I saw the one prior to that with Knives Out, but I didn't see Glass Onion. But apparently, he's like a real well-known, you know, guy that's got a lot of tenure in the industry and shit. So he did good. They had a cameo from Bradley Cooper. He played Marleman, like this little short ass dwarf ass dude. That was nice. Besides that, I didn't really know any other characters like that. They had like a weak ass sorcerer named Simon. That nigga was that nigga was ass. But what they did with a lot of characters in this movie was they showed the progression. And so Simon was fucking terrible at the beginning. He was fucking trash. Like one of the worst I've ever seen. And they made a point to like make that stand out that Simon is a fucking trash sorcerer. And of course they did that so that they can build him up in the end and be like, okay, Simon's he's good now type shit. And so I don't remember his name, Justice something. I don't remember his name because I didn't really know him like that. They had a druid named Doric, which was like a shapeshifter pretty much. That character was cool. They had this red witch because there was a lot of shit about witches and magic spells and all that shit. So we had this witch. I think she played the fuck out of her character. I don't know her name, but she really gave that creepy ass vibe, like A lot of shit that I see, like horror shit, witches and all the fucking creepy shit. A lot of that shit don't be really creepy. That shit just be regular to me. That bitch, Sophina, the Red Witch, she looked like a fucking weirdo creep from the very first moment I saw her. That bitch looked like crazy type shit. And so whoever that was, I have to find out what her name is, but whoever that was, I think she did a fucking great job with her fucking character. That shit was fire. So yeah, it was a lot of good characters in this movie. I don't know all of them, but they all did a good job in my opinion. So like I said, I didn't know anything about this movie specifically. I didn't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, the game, or anything, but I think I enjoyed this a lot more than I originally expected because I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't have any expectations. I thought it was just from the trailer. I thought it was gonna be okay. You know, the trailer didn't really give away a lot of shit. Some movies they have the trailer that give away the entire movie. This one didn't do that, and so I like that because when I saw the trailer, I wasn't that impressed. I didn't care, and then when I saw the movie, like the shit, it had my attention the entire way. Um, they did a lot of stupid, goofy shit. Of course, like I said, they was trying to throw the comedy in there. Some of it was funny, some of it wasn't funny to me, but some of that shit was pretty comical. Um, yeah, I'm not really giving no spoilers on this shit, but some of that shit was comical. The action was fire for the most part. The fight scenes was fire. Like when I say Michelle Rodriguez was fucking wilding, like this whole movie, she was fucking wilding. Chris Pine didn't really do much when it comes to like action type shit. He was more just like the leader, like the thinker, the planner. I come up with the plans type shit. They even said that in the movie, like he come up with the plans. But I think they kind of showed his character well too. Like his character had like a little transition from being one thing to uh and I'm speaking on like his personality and who he is. Like he had a transition from being one thing to turning into a different type of person, then turning into so I think they showed the progression really well from him. Like I said, with Simon, they showed the progression of him being absolutely fucking terrible to him being better in the end type shit. Um yeah, I like it. I like this movie. If I gotta give it a rating, I think I will give it it's between the 7.5 and 8 for me. Because I didn't see this movie, I thought, oh, this is absolutely amazing. I didn't think that. John Wick probably the John Wick was cold as fuck. John Wick 4 is cold as fuck. I didn't get that feel when I left this movie. I thought it was pretty good. It definitely kept my attention. Like I was interested in it, but it's like I don't really have a lasting impact with me. So I think it was cool. Cool movie. Outside of that, man, I don't know if there's anything else that I really need to address. I will say, if you haven't seen this movie, it may be worth a watch. It may be worth a watch. If you're into the type of shit like fantasy, adventure, that type shit, then you probably would enjoy it. Um, there's also a dash of comedy. There's a dash of like drama in it. But like if you're into like action, adventure, fantasy, then you probably should definitely watch it. Um, yeah, I feel like if I would have known more about the Dungeons and Dragons shit, if I knew anything about it at all, maybe I would have enjoyed it more. Um, because it's like maybe there were references that I missed, like callbacks that I missed, like different shit that I didn't catch because I don't know shit about it. But as a person that doesn't know anything about anything dealing with Dungeons and Dragons, it entertained me. It kept my attention. I think it's a 7.5 to a 8, somewhere in that range. And so yeah, I would definitely recommend it for like maybe one watch if you're into any of that type of shit. All right, man. So I'm gonna probably end it there, man. I ain't got too much more to say. With that being said, man, this has been the Real Rap Coalition podcast in real time, reviewing Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Amongst Thieves, and we are out.